In today's politically charged climate, it's uncommon to find someone who can admit they admire qualities in a politician they fundamentally disagree with. However, as someone who supports Donald Trump, I've come to realize that while I may oppose Kamala Harris's policies, I can still recognize qualities in her that I like and in some ways relate to. It feels similar to the Swifties for Trump phenomenon where you find people supporting someone who doesn't seem like the obvious choice for them. Just as some Taylor Swift fans back Trump, I've found myself in the curious position of admiring certain aspects of Harris, even though I'm firmly in Trump's camp. To be clear, my political beliefs align much more closely with Trump. I support his approach to issues like border security, the economy, and immigration. Harris's views on these issues are at odds with mine, and I believe Trump offers stronger solutions. Yet, despite these disagreements, I find myself relating to Harris in unexpected ways. There's something about her personality, the way she navigates the public eye, and her personal journey that I can't help but appreciate. Looking at Harris's career trajectory, it's impossible not to respect the drive and ambition it took for her to reach the position she holds today. Her rise from District Attorney of San Francisco to Attorney General of California to U.S. Senator and ultimately to Vice President is a testament to her perseverance. The challenges she's faced are significant, and while some may say she slept her way to the top, she still had to get elected. While I disagree with the direction she wants to take the country, I can still admire the determination it took for her to break through those barriers. One of the aspects of Harris that I relate to is the pressure she faces as a public figure. Being constantly scrutinized and expected to perform is something I imagine is incredibly difficult to deal with. She's often criticized for her speaking style, which some describe as word salad. While it's true that she sometimes over-explains or appears to be dodging direct answers in favor of zooming out and examining democracy on a philosophical level, I think this reflects her careful approach to addressing complex topics. Public speaking is hard, especially when your every word is dissected by opponents and the media. That level of pressure would make anyone more cautious, and I can empathize with her for that. Harris's preparation is another trait I admire. She reportedly spends days getting ready for debates, sitting with advisors, and honing her responses. This shows a level of introspection and diligence that I respect, even though I may not agree with the substance of her arguments. Her calculated approach stands in stark contrast to Trump, who thrives on speaking off the cuff and projecting confidence, even when he's under fire. Where Trump's style is bold and unapologetic, Harris's is more measured and cautious, which, while not my preferred style, shows her careful thought process. In many ways, Harris's public persona seems to be shaped by her background as a prosecutor. Her speeches often sound more like courtroom arguments than political rhetoric, with a clear effort to be precise and thorough. This might come across as stiff or insincere to some, but I see it as a reflection of her professional training and her desire to avoid making missteps in front of an often hostile audience examining every detail. It's a different style from Trump's more free form and sometimes brash delivery, but it's one that I can appreciate for its own merits. However, it's not just her professionalism that makes Harris relatable to me, it's her vulnerabilities. There are moments when she appears nervous or unsure, and while some might see this as a flaw, I think it's humanizing. It shows that, like the rest of us, she's not perfect, and she's trying to navigate the complex world of politics while under a tremendous amount of pressure. In a political environment where so much is expected of leaders, I find it refreshing to see someone who is, at times, visibly working through those challenges. Harris's struggle to balance authenticity with the demands of political life is something many can relate to, regardless of political affiliation. Her attempts to project a down-to-earth, relatable persona sometimes fall flat, and she's been accused of being fake. Yes, her accent changing as she holds rallies in Arizona, Michigan, and Georgia is strange. Still, her mixed-race heritage does complicate matters, given that she will be perceived differently depending on her audience, and she likely grew up wondering whether certain people claim her as one of their own. It's only natural for people to do a little bit of pandering. When I reflect on my admiration for Harris, it reminds me of past political figures who, though on the opposite side of my political beliefs, have earned my respect. Hillary Clinton, for example, faced similar scrutiny in 2016, and while I supported Trump, I could still recognize the strength it took for her to endure the constant attacks. In many ways, Harris is now in a similar position. Like Clinton, she's a woman navigating the rough terrain of American politics, and while I don't agree with her platform, I can still acknowledge the toughness it takes to keep going. Trump himself made a similar point in a debate with Clinton in 2016. Still, there are times when I wish Harris would be more direct, just as Trump sometimes is. Trump's willingness to speak plainly, even when it's controversial, is one of the reasons I support him. He's not afraid to say what's on his mind, even when it might upset the status quo. Harris, by contrast, seems more concerned with staying within the bounds of political correctness, which can make her come across as overly rehearsed. But while I may prefer Trump's style, I can see the value in Harris's more careful approach, even if it's not as exciting to watch. In the end, my support remains with Trump, but that doesn't mean I can't appreciate what Harris brings to the table. She's an intelligent, driven woman who has worked hard to get where she is, and I respect her for that. Her rise to the vice presidency is a remarkable achievement, and while I don't agree with her vision for the country, I can still admire the qualities that helped her get there. And so I say, Kamala Fans for Trump. There's always a challenger, and competition is what drives us to improve. It brings out the best in us, or at least it might as well. What kind of world would we be living in if it didn't? Thank you for listening. This has been Fool Me Twice.